Hey guys, it's Biggs. Sorry, you got to excuse my voice. I'm still feeling a little bit sick still, but that's part of why I got to bring you guys. This is just going to be a quick and dirty. You can tell the tank's behind me. The glass hasn't been cleaned in a while. The whole house has been sick. When you have young kids, you guys know what I'm talking about. Send your kids to daycare and stuff. They come out with every new sort of form of plague every single week. But what's happened is an absolute disaster happened. With us being, the whole family being down all the time, people are napping all the time, people are coughing, they're sick. We're just trying to get everybody healthy, but trying to deal all the daily chores that's got to go on, keeping the farm going, just doing things like water changes and meals and cleanup and stuff. It's been a lot of extra work. And Biggs, true to form, he actually had something happen yesterday, and it happened with these two tanks again. It happened what happened. Let's talk about it. Now you guys wouldn't know about this tank here, but yesterday, I think it was yesterday morning I came down, I put a load of laundry in. I'm not even going to try and cover up the glare or anything for you guys, but we've talked about what's happened before, and the exact same thing happened again, and you wouldn't believe it, because when I came down here yesterday, I turned the water changer on. Now Biggs is a total idiot. This is going to absolutely sum it up for you how much of an idiot it is. This has happened a couple of times before, and Biggs has still not plugged in the automatic water changer to be fully automated, because that area of the laundry room where the water changer is not completed yet. We still have all the isopods and everything going in that area, and the water changer's up here, and it still isn't all fully wired in, so I still have to use that manual switch. And when I use that manual switch and you're doing a lot of things at the same time, things often get forgotten. And that's exactly what happened. We came down a couple hours later, and all the tanks were, they're not milky, but it's just when you add 90% new water to the tank, the tank's got it's not cloudy, it's just got a different appearance to it, so I knew right away what it was. And I used the temp gun on the tanks, and I actually thought about doing a video then, but I was just so gutted by what had happened. And the temperature of the tanks was 54.2 degrees. Now, you would not think any of these fish, well, maybe these goodeids, which need a winter's rest. Well, you got it, guys. Time to start breeding again. But bulleri from Mexico. The bulleri I brought back from Dan Sharifi at Cichlids of the Americas. Now you probably can't even see them through all the garbage on the glass. These are all the bussing eye. Like I was absolutely gutted, guys. These are the bussing eye, one of the most coveted of the Central American cichlids that I was gifted by Max at Max Cichlids. These few salvini that are in here, I believe there's still 4 out of the 5 that I brought back from Rusty Wessel, a very specific locale. And the ones I thought for sure were toast was all the guys in there, which you probably can't even see. They're kind of hard to see anyways, but they hang around the wood all the time. And that's those Roxio spinosissimus. Now, I'm going to show you guys a couple of pictures in this video as well of what I had sent to my buddy Austin when I told him what had happened. And it was every single fish in both these tanks, with the exception of the Livebearers in the bottom tank, was laying on the bottom of the tank. Some were just slowly breathing, and otherwise most of them just looked dead. It was an absolutely horrifying scene, and you'd think Biggs would learn from it, but probably not yet. So they don't really appear any worse for wear. But honestly, even when I'm sitting here looking at them up real close, they have no signs of anything. You'd think, with that type of a situation, most people would have like such a severe ick outbreak that the whole tank would be wiped out. But no. I remember in this tank, the big giant pair of Murnay, which are very, very shy, reclusive. They generally hang around the rocks all the time. But I remember yesterday, the big male just sitting down here, laying on the ground on his side, barely breathing, and everybody's fine now. But you're talking, bussing eye is from Costa Rica. This is almost equatorial. They would never see temperatures that low, ever, and nothing on the fish whatsoever. I'm absolutely blown away about how strong and resilient fish can truly be. Some of these species are absolutely amazing. Sorry guys, I didn't bother cleaning the glass, but right there's my group, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the bigger one, 5. I still have all 5. I think I still have all 6 of my Roxio spinosissimus, which were gifted to me from my very dear friends Karen Haas and Alan Rawlings. and I'm very, very happy that everybody made it out. I think I will go and get some salt, and I will add a fair quantity of salt to the tank, more as a preventative measure. I didn't change anything. All I did is when it went from 54 down, I just turned the water changer off, and the heaters were running, and overnight, slowly but surely, that temperature came up gradually, entirely on its own. And maybe it's a Christmas miracle, I don't know. Well, I, for one, am extremely thankful that everybody made it through. And maybe this will be the one thing that Biggs needs, the kick in the teeth, to actually go, and hey, Biggs, maybe you should actually fully automate that thing. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Biggs isn't that smart. I figured while we're doing kind of a quick and dirty updates on all sorts of projects that are happening, this is that terrarium I put together quickly before heading out to where I was supposed to go to South Africa. I'm not happy with it at all. The sundew is thriving. The sundew's growing great. All the moss, it dries out. Even though there's an inch of water right below here, the moss dries out because the entire container's wide open. The light works great, so all the air plants are doing fine. I don't like seeing the white from the glue. But all the air plants, with the exception of one's missing here. It dried out and died. So with the exception of that, they were all doing fine. But now that I showed you guys, I've also got another sundew plant, and I've put it in a different spot. And I'm going to redo this. I'm going to take the whole branch out. All the moss is going to go somewhere else. Maybe the moss will just feed to the isopods. And we're going to redo this whole terrarium. We're going to leave the sundew in it, and we're going to add other sundews and other plants to it. And maybe take this out, maybe add some rocks to it or something like that, see what comes back and see if we can get that. If that's thriving, these guys are doing okay, but these guys will probably do better once they go into that big vivarium that we're building up right away. So there's the quick and dirty on that. You guys haven't seen these tanks for absolutely ever. These are the 275s. They've been sitting here basically empty. There's nothing in them. This one's got a few botanicals, some gravel that's still running. The light doesn't even turn on because I just don't want algae to grow. And then the other one's just got the light on a timer. It's obviously loaded with snails now. There's nothing else in that tank. Now, one of these tanks is the tank that I mentioned in my New Year's video that Kyle and me are going to do one of those full-on dirted tanks. I'm pretty stoked and excited about that. We're starting, almost all the materials are here amassed, and we're going to do a plant order. I've got a couple of plant companies that are on board that are interested in maybe sponsoring the thing, so we'll see if that comes to fruition, see if that we're going to end up doing that. And then this one over here, I'm not really sure what we're going to do. There's been nothing really that's really jumped and caught my eye, and I've just been so busy on the road all the time. But I haven't really shown you guys these, but Biggs wants to be absolutely transparent, let you know that, yeah, he's a normal guy too. He's got ugly tanks too, and these are probably about the ugliest you can possibly get. Now to the right of the 75s, that's that rack of the 340 breeders. The top one has some very, very important Livebearers. I was gifted a trio of Zoogeneticus tequila from Joel up at the Bucks County Aquarium Society, and he gave them to me when I was there at the Keystone Clatch. It's a species I've been wanting to get for a while. Anytime you can have a fish with the name tequila in it, sounds pretty cool. They're just a cool little Livebearer. There's one of the females right up front. You know, I just let this tank just go. Algae just takes it over. And the rest of them in this tank, these are those Chedamulensis that I brought back from, gifted again from that amazing couple, Karen Haas and Alan Rawlings. The middle tank is just that large colony of the green shrimp, those high-grade jade green shrimps. They don't really pique my interest much at all anymore. They're absolutely everywhere. If I drop food in this thing, this whole thing will just be a swarm of green shrimp there. But I'd really like to get rid of all of the colony and set up a nice tank for just going back and doing some crystal reds. I've always loved them. And then these, I don't know if I showed you guys these or not, but they're breeding already. They're breeding their brains out. But I want to get them established, and I think I want to put them up in one of the big 160s that I showed you. These are the true Zophophorus Montezuma, and there's a video coming out later this month on this particular species. And I brought these back from a dear friend of mine in Saskatoon, and these are from Rusty Wessel's stock. So these are only first or second generation from wild, and there's babies all over the place in the tank. So I brought back 3 boys and 5 girls, and the males are huge. They're the size of your entire hand. They're huge. And they're always sparring with each other. So they're just in a 40 breeder with lots of plant life and stuff like that. So there's lots of visual berries and stuff so they don't beat each other up. But very, very super stoked to have these guys in the fish room finally again. Look at that gorgeous male coming around there. They're pretty shy in this tank just because, you know, there's not a lot of action in the fish room all the time. But you can see the two males there putting their dorsals out and sparring with each other. They're a super, super impressive fish. And my intentions in my New Year's video, I talked to you guys about some of the projects and stuff that are coming down the road. Well, the big 12-footer, the big Mexican riverine Biotope, you know, 1,500 gallon or whatever it ends up being, I intend that to have these fish in it. That was the Livebearer of choice that I wanted to have in that tank. To have these big giant male swords fighting with each other in a tank full of cichlids, I think is something really a sight to behold. Now the Isopods, which started off, as you guys saw, with 3 species, ended up being 9 species. Well, we came home with 6 more species. So the number of species is always increasing. I actually have 1 more tub ready to go, and we didn't have any more. But I'm loving these things. These are super, super cool. I'm just trying to find a way. I'm gonna, next time I'm in the States, I'm probably gonna buy some nice little slick little vents, and maybe I'll redo these containers just so they look a little bit more prettier. They're still utilitarian and stuff, but my goal is to get rid of the 75s in the other room. Put an 8-foot tank there with some space below. In the space below, I'll end up having the canister filters for the big tank, and then the space below, I'd like to be able to fit all the isopod containers in that section and stuff like that under an 8-foot by 2-foot space. So that's kind of the plan for that. But just so you guys know, it's true. When I did the video the other day, there's that giant terrarium. We're getting a bunch of the beautiful grapevine type woods and stuff. It's a massive box of cork bark. These are some absolutely monstrous pieces with some good textures and some things good for planting. We've got all sorts of things coming together for that. That's for that terrarium build. And then you guys maybe also wanted to see, there's the fish room door. There's my stairs to go upstairs. There's the blue wall. That's where all the magic happens. There's my daughter's place that I was telling you guys about. So that space is a 12-foot wall by 6 feet. And eventually it's going to be built that the wall will actually extend all the way out, and it'll be completely enclosed. And right there by the keyboard is where we're going to put a door through. And to get to the fish, to actually access it, you'll have to go into this room here, and then the door will be around the corner there, and that'll be to access the tank. And otherwise, all you'll see from this basement vantage point will be a giant, large window, a 12-foot by 3-foot or 4-foot window with a Mexican biotope in there. I think it'll be something really, really cool, and I've been looking forward to doing it ever since we moved in here. And you can see I got a massive staircase, and in the basement, we have 10-foot ceilings. So I can bring in a nice big piece of glass and walk it straight down the stairs, around the corners, and build it. But a tank this size has to actually physically be built in space. So it's going to happen. Along with the terrarium, we're starting to amass a lot of different plants. We got some Nepenthes pitcher plants and some weird little tropicals and stuff, some different types of potos, some different orchids and stuff. And a bunch of stuff growing in my little terrarium. You can see the little flower stalks there. That's from the other sundew. That's going to go into that little terrarium we talked about earlier. So a lot of stuff is happening. Stuff's changing all the time. The real problem is Biggs actually has to be home to actually do some of these projects. So hopefully that's going to start happening soon because it's all starting to build up. I'm getting really excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the quick little dirty. I've never done that before. I just wanted to give you kind of a cool start the new year off right. We'll give you a full transparency. You can see how much of a disaster the fish room is. There's literally stuff piled everywhere. It never seems to end. I never seem to get caught up. But the projects are always building and evolving. That spot where the 40 breeders is over here, those are going to have to move because that's where that terrarium is going to be built and going in there. I still have to get the cool mist vaporizer. I still have that super cool light. Let me go and get that light. I got to show you guys this light. It's so cool. So this is that light fixture that I'm talking about trying to use for those plants and stuff like that. I've got the light itself. I've got the giant mounting bracket, the metal mounting bracket. And it's called a C-Ray 200. It's from the amazing people over at Cobalt. This thing looks, even just look at the way it's packaged. This looks like something I'm buying from companies like Apple. This is super slick packaging. Everything's awesome. Super well put together. Now it's been out of the box already because I have been tinkering around with it. But this thing is fully controlled by an app that you download. So I'm pretty excited. It's a pretty intense light. It's 200 watts. 200 watts for LEDs? That's pretty serious intensity. This thing is normally used for marine reef and stuff like that, but talked a lot with these guys, and they seem to think it's a great idea to try something different, and I want to show the versatility of this because they knew full well that I don't do marine. That's not really my cup of tea, but this is a pretty cool light, and I'm pretty excited to show you guys it. Hopefully we can get that done soon.